What is going on, people? Welcome to the On a Level podcast, episode 19. We got the episode number right today. We got it confidently correct. Today we're going to be doing the podcast episode by myself, just for the simple fact of I was meant to have a guest lined up, but they just had other things pop up, so that's going to be recorded at a later date, obviously. But there's a couple things that I wanted to address on the podcast, and so selfishly I'm going to just do my own one today, and hopefully I address a few things that you guys want to hear about, or maybe you didn't know about, and it'll be interesting just hear anyway. But yeah, I appreciate, just first off, before we do get into it, I just want to appreciate and say thank you to all the people who have been supporting the podcast. The podcast doesn't get the craziest amount of views. I mean, it's still like in the hundreds, which for me is like, yeah, I'm more than happy for something that is completely original content. You know, I'm very happy for that. You know, obviously reactions are original content, but you are massively on the crutch of that artist and how popular the artist and that song is. You know, if a song blows up, for example, a OneFour track, it's gonna get me more views. If it's Chilling It or Kerser drops a song, you know, it's gonna get more views. We know this because they're more popular artists, the song gets more views, and then you get suggested, you're more likely to get suggested because of that. Yeah, or you get suggested more times to more viewers. You get the idea. So considering we're creating something that is completely original content, it's sick to see that people are still enjoying it. It has a smaller viewer base, but the viewer base that is there, I really do appreciate it, whether it's through the YouTube comment section or DMs on Instagram, or just one or two people in real life, you know, just calling me up, Skype, FaceTime, whatever it is, and just saying like, oh yeah, it's sick to see what you're doing. So I appreciate all the support on the podcast and whatnot. And I understand this is going to be for a few niche people as well. This podcast isn't going to be for everyone. Something that I've realized recently is that there's more and more people, there's more podcasts and interview platforms than I thought there were. Like, I only thought there was Triple J, and I was like, and then I knew of The Lesson, with, is it DJ Sanchez? I was aware of that one as well, but again, the content that was put out there, it was typically DJs and older heads in the scene, as opposed to people that were new and upcoming. On average anyway. So that's why I kind of was doing this podcast. It was just kind of just talk to a mix of people in the industry, whether it be artists or videographers or producers or, you know, whatever it may be. Yeah, I'm not the only one doing it. I've realized this because in the past week or so, we've had a few shout outs, a few mentions from a few different artists. So Complete giving a shout out on a AAA podcast. Shout out to those boys. Shout out Complete. You know, I've got a lot of love for Complete all day long, so it's good to see that artists are just given positive recognition. I always appreciate it. You know, it's obviously a shout out for me as well. It's just nice to know. It's just nice to know that these artists are noticing the work that you're putting in, basically. So shout out Complete. But the one that a few people have addressed, now I addressed this on Instagram, but I haven't yet addressed this on YouTube, so I feel like the podcast is the best place to do this. Recently, Kerser and JD or JUF was on a podcast, the Beers, Beats and the Biz, that's it. Dope fucking podcast, by the way. I've been listening to another episode on there, and yeah, they just seem to ask the right questions. The conversation flow as well. It's a very, very good podcast. So I'm gonna shout out that podcast first and foremost, and I'm gonna say to go check out the link in the description to their Spotify page, to go and check out and listen to more of their stuff, because I feel like it's definitely a great platform from what I've heard so far anyway. And so either way, I obviously, because of time difference, I woke up to a few DMs, not a shitload, I'd say about 3 or 4 DMs of people saying that Kerser has dissed me. And this is quite reminiscent, because obviously there was that track that he did a while ago. Was it The Vibe? It wasn't The Vibe. I can't remember the track, but either way, he did a track, and I was like, I wonder if he's talking about me. We addressed it with each other, and we cleared that it wasn't about me. It was just kind of saying, look, if people want to talk their shit, just know I'm going to tell them about themselves as well. It was kind of more of a generic thing. And I guess you could say if the shoe fits in some way. Not that I was chatting shit, but obviously, yeah. Then recently, obviously, they've gone on this podcast now and they've made a comment. I'm just going to play the audio clip of what Kerser and JD were talking about, and this is kind of more so JD, to be fair, that people were kind of referencing, but they love using the name Kerser. Throwing the name Kerser in there makes it obviously 10 times more spicy. No disrespect towards JD, just when you look at the numbers. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this clip right here.
Yeah.
You know, you can press play on it whenever the fuck you want.
Listen to Joe Rogan at night.
Yeah.
You know?
They call it new media technology.
Yeah, it's taken over, man.
Yeah,
it's good.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Right. And that other shit where people just sit there fucking talking bad shit about other people rapping, reviewing it.
Yeah.
That's a new thing.
That's a new thing too.
Yeah, you can sit in front of the camera and react. You can go off someone who's just sitting in their room's reaction, and sometimes their reaction can shift how a person thinks.
Like
man.
That's the whole thing.
Like if you're that.
Definitely, what somebody says, people like me, what we say can influence people. Yeah, 100%. I agree.
Fucking stupid to watch a reactor and go.
If you're that fucking weak-minded, like seriously, man.
Shaz.
Like seriously.
What's his name? Sharon.
Something like that.
Is that cunt you parodied in a video one day? Remember you parodied
Shazza.
him?
Shout out to Shazza.
This cunt over here, River's a fucking performance
He's
artist,
a
man. Like, this cunt is something else.
He should have a YouTube channel.
Yeah, for real, dude.
Trolling.
He has to.
Fucking
No, but shout out to Sharon. She's a nice reviewer, isn't she?
Yeah, she's nice, man.
Yeah.
But JD, brother.
Okay, so that's all it was. Now people have obviously messaged me and they're like, JD's dissed you, Kerser's dissed you. Fucking no, they haven't. And like I said, I've addressed this on Instagram, but let's address it in a little bit more detail here now. Let's go through that one more time. So they were talking about podcasts and how accessible it is as opposed to radio and TV. Yeah, of course, you play podcasts whenever you want. I do it. It's the same when you walk to work, when I'm sitting down, when I'm on a journey, whatever it is. I listen to podcasts. Yeah, it happens. And it's very accessible. And then obviously they've segued that into talking about reaction videos. Now, they said that reaction videos can sway a person's opinion. Yes, 110% by someone like me. I'll use me as an example, but like someone like me saying, you know what, this track is so sick, it's unbelievable, and the reason why is because of the flow and the way they structured their verse, and notice the small detail here, and so and so and so and so. Someone might sit there and go from, yeah, that song's alright, to, you know what, I actually appreciate that in a different way. That's one way. Equally, let's take that in a flip perspective. You could also be like, yeah, I don't really like this song. I think it lacks the delivery. I think it's a little bit monotone. For me personally, it's a bit boring for that reason. Someone who may be like, you know what, that song's alright, may listen to someone like me say something like that and be like, I kind of see where he's coming from now. I've gone a little bit off of it. That can happen. Yes, especially with the way I do my reaction videos, when I give you my reasons why I dislike a song. Like, I give my reasons why. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later on in the podcast, but there's plenty of people that react to a video and don't give much of an opinion. And so, of course, they're not going to really sway people's minds. Someone like me who likes to give my 2 cents and give my opinion can sway others. By me sharing my thoughts, by me giving my opinion, can change other people's opinions and thoughts on something. Yes. Now, when they make the comment, I think JD makes the comment of, if you're that weak-minded to allow that to happen, that's when I kind of have mixed feelings about. That's the only thing that I'm going to kind of debate a little bit. With being weak-minded. So if you're weak-minded, you are easily influenced. Correct? If you're weak-minded, you are not strong enough to form and hold your own opinion. That's what I infer from the term weak-minded. If you are weak-minded, somebody in person, a friend of yours, or say a family member that enjoys the same music you do, that debates the same things, could easily influence you. Any artist on their social media could then easily influence you. And likewise, people like YouTube could influence you. But I don't believe that someone changing their opinion makes them weak-minded. I don't believe so. I believe that if someone doesn't have a clue what they're talking about, like absolutely not a single idea of what they're talking about, manages to sway your opinion that is factual, then I believe you're weak-minded. Then I believe you know, blue is blue. No, red is blue. Oh, yeah, man. Red is blue. That's weak-minded, okay? If I give you an opinion with reason behind it, sometimes maybe even facts behind it, I don't believe by swaying someone's opinion with that makes someone weak-minded. People change my opinion. I can listen to say what JD or Kerser say on their social media or on this podcast, for example, and it can sway my opinion. I don't believe that makes somebody weak-minded. For me personally, anyway. And so I do see where he's coming from. Easily. Yeah, easily. We do change people's opinion. I don't believe it makes someone weak-minded, though. The furthest you could say to being a diss is the whole fact that they call me Sharon. I think that's the furthest that can go. I don't believe that even that. They're just pissing about, man. Like, let's be real. It's not that deep. When they was talking about parodies that they were shouting out River City, also known as Kresnik, obviously doing an Instagram parody thing a while back. And yeah, like, to be fair, me and Krez had a little back and forth before. That was me being easily offended. That was me kind of defending myself for the simple fact of I was new to the whole Oz scene thing. I didn't know everyone. I didn't know how people responded to things. If you did that in the UK scene, yeah, you're holding smoke. It just happens, but I've realized the interaction with the Oz scene is slightly different, so I've treated it slightly different. So I took it personally. Looking at it now, yeah, it wasn't that deep. Okay, cool. We've moved on. We've talked about it. We've even done a podcast together as well. Cool. Things move on. And so, yeah, they were just talking about him parodying me and whatnot. So, yeah, I don't really take offense to what they've said. I don't feel like it's a diss. I don't feel like they're cussing me. I don't feel like it's any sort of disrespect. The furthest level of disrespect there was calling me a she and Shazza. It's not that deep, boys. Like, in this industry, in this level of work, and in this field of work, if you are offended by things like that, it's going to be difficult. You are going to make your job 10 times more difficult. And this goes into a thing of what I've tried to been doing recently, which is I can hear everybody, but I don't listen. I'm starting to get to that level now, or been doing this long enough, should you say, where people message me and do the whole, you help me get through shit. I'm your number one biggest fan. I religiously watch your shit and I can't wait for the next thing to come out, and I'm angry if you don't post on a daily basis. I'm not the only one going through that. There's plenty of influencers, artists, just people in general that are like that. And they are all positive things. When people say, I'm your biggest fan, you help me through shit, it's all positive things, for them showing their love and support. And I always appreciate that. I can hear what you're saying, but I don't want to listen to too much of it. And the reason for that is I feel like that's why so many influencers, celebrities, whoever it is, gets big-headed. It inflates their ego. Of course, if you listen to hundreds or maybe even thousands of people per day saying you are the shit, you are the second best thing since sliced bread, of course you're going to be big-headed. Of course you're going to have an inflated ego. It's hard not to. If someone at your workplace says, oh man, I like your outfit today, that can give you a small little boost of confidence. Or, I like how your makeup looks today. Or, man, I heard your track, that sounds sick. Like, it's something that can boost your confidence. But there's a fine line between being confident and then just being an arsehole with an inflated ego. Like, there is such a fine line between the two. And so, yes, would I say I've become more confident? 100%. Now I want to stay between that fine line of being confident within myself and in some ways being able to talk my shit whilst being humble about it, without stepping that line of just being cocky and arrogant. I don't want to be that person, and at times I may seem like that. And if so, I do, and I don't apologize. I do apologize because I don't want to be that person. I don't apologize because I am just trying to be myself. And so, there's plenty of positive things you hear that I don't want to hear too much of. Equally, though, there's the fair share of negative shit. You don't know what you're talking about, or how is our Pommy fucking representing the Oz scene more than our own people, which is another thing I want to talk about in a moment, and that could be taken as a compliment as well. But fuck you, what the fuck do you know, who the fuck do you know, you don't know what you're talking about, etc, etc, all the generic shit that you hear in YouTube comments or DMs from time to time. Now, again, I'll hear it, I read it, but I don't listen to it. I don't listen to it. Why don't I listen to it? Because if I start listening to that shit, I would have stopped this months ago. I would have stopped this after my first couple reaction videos. Full stop. I would have stopped this after my first couple tracks got released. Full stop. Like, it's such a difficult thing to do, but I feel like I'm slowly getting there in terms of no matter how positive or how negative someone's opinion is of me, I want to hear it. If someone wants to talk shit, I want to hear why. 9 times out of 10, there's never a reason why. With the positives, I'll hear it. I like hearing it. Let's be real. I like hearing someone talk highly of me. I'm not going to sit here and say that's not the case. However, I don't want to listen to too much of it because I don't want to become someone that I'm not. I don't want to become big-headed, etc., etc. So I hope you get where I'm coming from there. So going back to the whole Kerser and JD thing, to me it wasn't a diss. It's not something that offends me deeply. It's not something that is considered disrespectful. Obviously I mentioned him in the story. Kerser just basically liked the message, so I think Kerser just agrees with what I'm saying. So obviously giving more detail, maybe now he doesn't, I don't know, but honestly, respect to Kerser, because he's one of the few artists that when I have said something that's controversial, we'll put it like that, when I've said I don't like this song for so and so reasons, he's one of the few artists that actually DMs me. That's why I have a level of respect for Kerser. There has been some artists that have just added me on their Instagram story, and then when I DM them, they air it or go, no, it's not like that. I was just messing about. There's the reason why I have respect for Kerser. JD, I've never spoken to personally or anything like that, so I can't speak on behalf of him, but I'm sure it's going to be pretty similar. And as for Krez is just Krez. Krez is going to just fuck about 24/7. Me and him speak here and there and whatnot. And even he said like, oh yeah, you got a little shout out on the podcast. He put it like that, and then other people put it as a diss. But yeah, I'd kind of put it as a shout out, but I definitely wouldn't put it as a diss. Like 110% wouldn't put it as a diss. So yeah, putting that to bed, putting that to one side, thought I just needed to address that for some of the people on YouTube. And I'll probably end up clipping this and uploading it to YouTube. So yeah. But I do want to mention another thing about reactors. You know, people's reactors can influence what people think. It can influence what people think about a track or an artist or a video, etc., etc. And that's if people give their opinions. Now, it led me to this thought of why am I, in terms of numbers, and I would like to say, and tell me if I'm wrong, in terms of influence, why am I the biggest reaction channel, we'll put it as that, reaction channel for the Oz scene? And I was trying to break down my reasons why. And I've kind of put it down to a few points. But just before I get there, I just want to talk about, which I've already talked about before, but just for any new listeners or anyone who hasn't heard me mention it before, the reason I started reactions was because I watched a couple reaction videos and thought to myself, most of these are shit. In my opinion, from my perspective, most reactors are shit. And the reason for this is they don't deliver one or two things. There is either no humor in the video whatsoever. None. There is nothing that makes me laugh or smile in this video. And or there is no knowledge being given. Now, let's take someone like Ziaz. If you don't know who Ziaz is, Ziaz and Bilu do reaction. I think it's the biggest reaction channel worldwide. And the reason for this is they're funny as fuck to watch. They just are. They are funny as fuck. Bow. Hello. So if you understand that reference, you'll know. Okay. And then you've got someone like from the UK, Lee to the VI, who doesn't give me that humor element, but gives that knowledge. You know, he breaks down the track. It is partly the reason why I did breakdowns. I do mine slightly different. His is a little bit more factual, whereas mine is a bit more opinion based. I say that's where we differentiate. And I stopped watching him a while back just because I didn't want to start copying his kind of style. So I haven't watched a video of his in a while, to be fair, but shout out to Lead to the VI. I watched I used to watch a couple of his videos back in the day, not religiously, but I've checked out a couple, and he was one that I was actually impressed with. Now, I've mentioned people that do two different things. I enjoy Ziaz because of humor. I enjoy Lead to the VI because of knowledge. So I thought to myself, why don't I try and do both? Now, given the humor side of things has to come natural. I can't force that. If I try to force it, it will be cringy. You'll smell it from a mile off. It just won't be worth it. But I try to add some humor when relevant, you know. As for knowledge, that is what I try to give. I try to give the best of my musical knowledge as possible that is relevant to the track. I try and break down the track the best I possibly can. Am I incorrect sometimes? On a factual basis, yes, I am. Do I get artist names wrong, or where they're from, or what they do, or yes, of course I get things wrong, but I don't apologize for that, because I am not really creating, in terms of my reaction videos, I am not creating, I am documenting. I am documenting me discovering Australian rap, hip-hop, grime, drill, trap, whatever genre you want to put it as. I'm discovering the Oz scene as a whole. And so I am going to get things wrong. That is part of my content. The whole point is that I'm learning with some of you guys. Some of you guys, especially when I first started, knew a shitload more than me. Now it's got to the point where, because I religiously am on top of it, I now know more than some others. Of course, there's people who know a shitload more than me. And there's also people that I'm now starting to educate as I've started to learn. So what I'm learning, what I'm experiencing over the last year and a half, I am now sharing with other people. And so, yeah, I am now starting to give knowledge in my videos. And so, I'm not saying I do it the correct way. I'm not saying I do it the best way. I'm not saying I make the best reaction videos. No. But I'm trying to do what I didn't enjoy watching. Or sorry, I'm trying to correct what I didn't enjoy watching. No knowledge or humor. And so now I'm trying to give both within my videos the best that I possibly can. So I feel like, one, that's the biggest reason why I watch plenty of reactors that do reaction videos on the Oz scene. And this is no disrespect. This is no disrespect to anyone who does reactions to Australian rap, drill, etc., etc. Most of them I do not enjoy. I've done my homework. I've pre'd some of the videos. I don't enjoy it because it doesn't give me enough of one of those things, if not both. There are some people, there are most people that make reaction videos on, and I can only speak on behalf of the Oz scene, that bore me. It is boring to watch. And sometimes as well, it's just a quality thing. Like, the quality of their videos isn't good enough, for my opinion. Now, obviously, my setup that I've got is as clean as possible. It's slightly overkill. This is a gaming setup, and I do it just for reaction videos. So I understand that my setup doesn't have to be the same as everybody else's. Like, I understand people have, like, real life shit. Like, they don't have the money to spend on that. Don't get me wrong. I didn't have this handed to me. Everything that you see in this video and everything that is contributing towards this video and the quality behind it right now is every single thing that I have bought myself. I don't have designer clothes. I don't go out every weekend. I don't own a car. I sacrifice those things to put all into this. And so, yes, that is why my setup is overkill, and it's why it looks as nice as it is. Hopefully, I hope you guys agree with me on that one. But the quality of some people's videos, whether it be the actual video quality, whether it be the audio, obviously, I know some people just don't have the knowledge to have a setup. And so they have the reaction software that have the watermarks, and yeah, it takes away from it. Let's be real, it does. Maybe I should do that. Maybe I should do that for a video, how to have a cheap setup for reaction videos. But long and short of it is, you can do this shit off of your iPhone. You have a smartphone. You can do it from your phone. That is how nuts this is. And so, you know, no disrespect towards anyone who makes reaction videos on the Oz scene. None whatsoever. Like, shout out all you man that are actually doing your thing. I've had one person who actually did a reaction to my track with Greasy. You know, we've had some of these people follow me on Instagram, shout me out, whatever it is. Like, shout out to all you man doing your thing as well. I'm not gonna go through every single name going, but I feel like some of you could be much bigger than what you are if the quality of your videos went up, and or you try give some humor or knowledge. I feel like that would help people massively. Now, some people message me and they're like, yeah, you're the biggest thing doing this. You're single-handedly carrying the Oz scene. Incorrect. No. Am I single-handedly trying to do something new with the Oz scene in terms of reaction channels? Yes, I feel like I am. In terms of how many other reaction channels, and please let me know if I'm missing out on someone. How many reaction channels are also doing artist breakdowns, album or EP breakdowns, podcasts? We'll add in the Cole one-off videos, whether it be the rap attack videos or reacting to old Oz hip-hop or reacting to new artists. How many people are doing things like the Underrated Showcase? Obviously, they have their own names, like reviewing underrated artists or whatever it is, as well as reaction videos. I know that there's all of those things. As I've mentioned before, there's podcasts out there talking about the Oz scene. There's people who do album reviews. I'm not sure about Australian albums yet. I don't know if they're at that point yet, but there's people who do album breakdowns. The Needle Drop is the biggest one I can think off the top of my head. You've got people that make videos on these artists and show the best highlights and clips and whatnot. You have people that do these things. But how many people are doing it as one hub? Please let me know in the comment section if there's anyone you know of, specifically to the Australian scene, that does this. Because I don't know. I am not aware, and I apologize if I'm ignorant enough to not know this. Whoa, my setup just went black. Are we all good? Yeah, we're good. Okay, my screen's just turned off because I didn't touch anything. And so, yeah, please let me know if there's anyone that is doing this, because I'm unaware of it. And I apologize if I've just completely slept on someone, as I have with some of these podcasts. And so, yeah, in terms of people saying you're single-handedly doing it, no. I'm not carrying the Oz scene by myself. The artists are. Simple as. There, of course, people that are doing the podcasts and different content creators and Instagram profiles, some of them are obviously helping. You know, they're spreading awareness. I get comments on my videos that are like, you know what, I just come to your channel to hear new Aussie music. Sick. I'm giving new content for other people. You know, I'm putting on certain artists to new viewers. They're like, you know what, I don't know where to go to keep up with everything, so I'm just going to come to you. And this is what brought the thought to me. With UK content, there's certain few people I'll follow to keep up with everything that is going on. What do we have here to do that? Is there any sort of like news thing to follow to keep up with everything? I know there's like Instagram profiles and whatnot to do it, but I feel like they all miss out on something. Is there anything? Is there any place to follow? Is there anything to watch that keeps you up to date with everything? Because people say it's me, and I don't really do so much of a news thing. Like, for me, I've been interested in doing it, but I would need to hire some writers to do so. I've been thinking about doing a website or a podcast, like creating my own brand, but I kind of just want to boost other people's brands, to be honest. I don't want to feel... I'd feel too selfish doing that at this point anyway. Until I feel like I've got something new to offer, I wouldn't do that. Right now, I feel like it would be selfish because I feel like I can't offer nothing new in terms of that. But one day, if I felt like I could hit a new angle, I definitely would be interested in creating my own brand to be like the hub of Australian content, which is a lot of people are claiming that brand right now. A lot of people are trying to get that because that market is there. Let's be real. That market is wide open for someone to take that. The same way there was the market for someone to be doing regular Oz reactions with quality, with knowledge and humor, and I'm one of the few people that have just fit into that market. There are other people that do reactions to Oz content, and for some of you, man, you may love their content, but for me, they're just not for me personally. Now, given I'm pretty picky when it comes to it, I don't watch many people, but yeah, I mean, people say to me all the time, like, as I mentioned before, how comes we've got someone from the other side of the world that keeps us up to date with our own scene more than our own people? That's another thought. How many Aussies are reacting to their own music? Because most of these Aussie reaction channels are Americans, a couple UK, man, and I think there's like one or two Aussie reactors that are reacting to Oz shit. Like, I think the biggest one off the top of my head I can think of, and I hope I get the name right, is it Adjuster Vlogs? Wait, let me, I don't want to get this wrong, please. Yeah, Adjuster Vlogs or Augusta Vlogs, Exploring with Augusta. Either way, 4K subscribers, shout out to your man. He's been doing reactions to Oz content on and off. How active is he? How active is he? I can't see his page. Oh shit, that's his vlogs page. Okay. Well, either way, I do know he does reactions and whatnot, and so yeah, whatever numbers he's at, shout out to him. But yeah, I don't know how regular, how active he is, you know. Does he give you knowledge? Is it humor? Like, what do you get from his videos? Let me know what you, man, enjoy about his videos, if you know of him or / watch him. And so yeah, I'm kind of waiting on an Aussie to really go hard on this shit. Let's be real. There should be someone that is Australian that should be going hard on this shit. Harder than me. To a certain extent, someone's right. Why is the Pommy, why is the Brit doing it harder than the Aussies? I need to see more Aussies. I want to see, personally, me, Chazza speaking here on behalf of myself and nobody else. I want to see more Aussies making Australian content. I'm seeing a bunch of UK man hop on the trend. I'm seeing a bunch of US man hop on the trend. Where are the Aussies representing their own scene? I apologize once again if I'm missing out on people, if I'm missing out on platforms. Of course, there's podcasts that are out there. There's people who are doing interviews that are out there. But in terms of reactions, in terms of album reviews, in terms of things like this, where is the content? Am I missing out on it? Is it just not hitting the numbers yet? Like, I want you, man, whoever's watching this video, I beg you, man, just make one long comment and just answer all of my questions. Please, just send me a list of just a bunch of people, as many people as possible, to just that make content. I'll start thumbsing it up and hearting it and all of that shit. Like, just go down in the comment section right now if you're watching this video and just see how many people is named, and go check them out. Go support them. Like, I don't want to be selfish in this thing. It's a bit of a weird statement, and I'm kind of saying this is a kind of a hot take, so I could take this back after recording this, but I don't want to be the biggest channel for Oz content. I do and I don't. I do for obvious reasons. You just want to do the best at, you know, what you're doing. But in some way, I don't feel like I should be. I don't feel like I should. I don't know. One day, not yet, but until someone goes hard with this thing, until someone has quality, knowledge, and humor, until someone has those 3 key factors, no one's gonna pass me. In terms of numbers, anyway. Let me make that very clear. In terms of YouTube numbers, no one's gonna pass me. But I'm not looking at YouTube numbers. I'm looking more on the side of influence. I would happily become one of the most influential people in the scene. That's gonna take 10 to 15 years. I'm happy to sit there and work for it. Like, I feel like that is more of an important goal than to stay the biggest person in terms of numbers. Now, again, when I keep saying this statement of the biggest person in terms of numbers, again, maybe I'm sleeping on someone that I'm not aware of. Then, as well, do you count me as just someone who does reaction videos, or would you count Triple J, who's the biggest platform, technically speaking, which is like close to 1 million subscribers, right? But again, in terms of influence, do they have more influence? Probably, yeah, of course they do. They're in your national network, right? But I've had some people say you're more influential than The Lesson, than Triple J. I don't know how much I agree with that, but I can kind of see where they're coming from. I don't know. It's a weird space, and I'm doing a lot of hot takes here. I feel like I'm gonna regret something. I feel like I'm gonna say something that's just gonna sound wild when I listen to this back. But I hope you guys get where I'm coming from. I don't want to just be the biggest person for Oz content for just the sake of it. I want there to be a reason why I'm the biggest. Now, obviously, my music is gonna be a part of that. That has an element to play. I'm collabing with these Australian artists that my reaction content, my reviewing content, we'll put it as, gets my music views. There's no denying that. Likewise, though, my music brings attention to my reviews. So it's kind of just a cycle of content. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to give you one thing. I'm trying to give you ice cream. This is a sick analogy. I've just deeped it in my head. I'm giving you ice cream. Ice cream is ice cream at the end of the day. But there's different flavors of ice cream. You know what I'm saying? The ice cream is the Oz scene. But I'm giving you different flavors. Reactions is one flavor. Album reviews, podcast. Get where I'm going with this now? And so, who's the biggest ice cream? Who has the best ice cream? Right now, I would say that I have the highest quality Nah, this is sounding a bit mad. I'm going a bit far-fetched to this one now, but I hope you, man, get where I'm coming from. I'm struggling to articulate my words, so I'm going to move on. But, yeah, just let me know what you think down in the comment section below about that one. And the last thing I just wanted to talk about in today's thing, or at some point, but I guess we're going to talk about it today, is OneFour have announced that they've been banned from pretty much performing. Like, they were meant to be on the support tour with Dave, didn't get to do that. They're then meant to be supporting UK artist Octavian, also got banned from performing at that show. And I'm watching something unfold which reminds me a lot of what Giggs had to go through. For those who don't know, Giggs is a UK artist that was underground, was doing UK gangster rap, and struggled for a good 10 years with performing shows. His music was too hood, it influenced the wrong thing, it insinuated things that they didn't want, shows are too dangerous, it could create violence, it promotes drug culture, etc, 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 etc. Now, that was a big blow for Giggs, and Giggs was one of the few people that stuck it out through that whole process, to the point where now he's the biggest UK rapper, I would say. Not the UK's biggest artist. I would say Stormzy and Skepta are above him, but they kind of fit more in. I mean, Skepta especially fits more into the grime element of that. Stormzy's kind of a bit more mainstream in terms of who's still doing gangster rap. Yeah, Giggs holds that title for me personally. And so Giggs had to go through a lot of adversity. His shows were getting shut down a lot, and so I hope the OneFour boys are aware of Giggs' story, and if not, I encourage them. I encourage anyone doing drill, or anyone just in general who's having their show shut down, to go and look into his story. Because he had to be very, very, very patient. And it's a shame. It's a massive shame. One, because people want to see these guys perform live, but it's also a shame for the artists because, you know, they're trying to make something of themselves. They're trying not to be on the road doing a madness, as much as they say it in their music. If you enjoyed it, as Kano once said, if you enjoy the beef, then you're lying. I believe in that statement. I don't care what they say. No one wants to be doing this shit for the rest of their life. I don't care what they say in their music. I don't care who responds to this saying otherwise. These men don't want to be on the road for the rest of their life. Whether they realize that now or not. Maybe right now they believe they want to be on the road for the rest of their life, but you don't. When you start having kids, when you get a wife, think about these things for a second. You don't want to be a pensioner running around with a machete. It's just not gonna happen, big man. And so there's got to be a point where you put the knife down. There's got to be a point where you put the skeng down, put the pack down, whatever it is, and go, right, I've got to turn my life around. Now, let's be real. It's not that incentivizing to put your ting down and go work in a supermarket. It's not that incentivizing to go put your ting down and collect bins for a living. Yeah? These are real jobs. These are things that people have to do. Respect to those, man. But to a man that are making big P for and I am talking about the ones who are seriously out here, not the people who wear a tracksuit and go do a freestyle on a platform pretending they're big. No, I'm talking about the man that are really out here. When you go from making serious dough from nobody telling you what to do to then having a duty manager telling you what time you have to be in a certain place and what you have to wear, it's not incentivizing. And so one of the few things that is incentivizing to get you out of the road life is making it through music. It's something that goes hand in hand with the culture that they were brought up in. It's something that they can express themselves still through. It's something that they can share their experiences with and make it seem like they've not gone through all of that shit for nothing. And so when you stop someone from performing, which is the real way for artists to eat, like YouTube numbers, Spotify numbers, doesn't really make you money. Album sales and performing is where artists really make their money. And so when you take away one of those elements, that's a massive blow to an artist, or in terms of OneFour as a group. That is a huge blow for them, not being able to perform. Now, is this going to be permanent? I don't think so. I reckon it's going to be changed over. But with the UK, obviously, we've had this ongoing battle for years now. And so we've got to a point where only recently have they announced that they're not going to be banning drill videos on YouTube. The Oz scene, in terms of the politics behind it, is very, very far behind that. The UK scene has been more established at a higher level, I guess, for longer, and that's why we've got round to it. But you know, it's the way it's covered on the news is almost like rap is a new thing in terms of mainstream media. They're going on like the Oz scene, the hip hop scene and rap scene is new, which it's not. It's been going deep for a good 20, 25, 30 years. And so with the UK, obviously it's had the same longevity, but 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was being covered on the news for a madness. And it was like, oh, this new rap thing, when it was already 10, 15 years deep at that point already. And so when I'm seeing these few news articles or things being shown on the national news, it's like, oh, with this whole new rap thing that's come along, and it's like, no, this thing's been about for a minute. I guess the only new thing that they could be talking about is drill. Drill is new to Australia, let's be real. It's only come about in the past couple of years. Or established itself really this year in 2019 in terms of how it's established itself since it blown up and gone viral, all of that. I'd say 2018, 2019 is only new in terms of how the drill scene has established itself. So, you know, UK drill has gone through a massive battle over the past 4 or 5 years to kind of get itself to a point where it's okay to be performing, it's okay to be doing UK drill. It's not as looked down upon as it is before, and it still is. It's still massively looked down upon. Unless you're from the culture, you don't get it. It's a very niche thing. You've got to understand that. And so with Ozdrill, I don't know what turn it's going to take. I don't know how long it's going to take before OneFour are able to perform without every show being shut down. I don't know how long it's going to take for 21 District to be doing you know what I mean? Whoever it is, whatever artist, whatever group it is, I don't know how long it's going to take before they can really start doing their thing without any restriction, any friction between them and making P. Because right now, the only way they can really make money is if they drop an album. And groups don't often do that. And if they do, you know, as you said, shit's getting shut down on YouTube and shit. So I don't know. People were saying to me that police aren't as on it when it comes to like music videos and whatnot. Like here, they shut down music videos ASAP. Whereas there, they're not as on it. And I mean, when you got OneFour rolling out with how many, man? I don't think you can shut them down. But, you know, what is the situation? What is the climate? Where is the climate at in terms of mainstream media, police, laws, government, and these artists, you know, performing, making videos, doing shows? Where is this all at, and where do we go forward? Is it something that we have to start addressing now, or are we going to end up waiting until it gets to breaking point? Because I don't want to see artists try and make something of themselves, and then because they can't, they go back to the road. Like, I sit here, I say this often, I don't promote road life. I promote doing what you need to do to get by, but warring for the sake of it, you're misguided, in my opinion. And again, there's real shit. I know there's people who are like, you can't just say that. It's not that easy, Chaz. Like, we have beef with them because of what they did years ago. And I'm like, yeah, and then you go do that, and then they're going to have beef with you for longer because of how you retaliated. And it's like, it's this endless cycle that doesn't fucking stop, you know? Like, I know for 95% of people listening to that, they're going to disagree with me and it's going to go over their head. I hope to the 5 people that are listening, I know it's not easy to walk out of this shit, but try and make something of yourself. Like, you won't want to do road for the rest of your life. That's all I'm going to leave on it, really. It's not as glorified as people make it out to be. It's not something that you want to get into. If you're not a part of that life, do not walk into it. It looks glamorous, and it really isn't, because once you're in it, it is near impossible to get out. And when one of the few avenues to get out of that shit is music, and it's being shut down, that upsets me. It does. A good perspective take that I agree with is Krypton Conan's track Ban Drill. If I remember to, I'll leave a link in the description. If I don't, just type in Krypton Conan Ban Drill. It's a song that they did, and they made it into like a mini movie. I think it's like 15 minutes long. Go and watch that, because I feel like I've taken on that perspective, really. I kind of had that already, but I feel like that was a good way to collect it and put it all together. So Krypton Conan Ban Drill, go and check that track out. I feel like it's a very, very good example of what I'm talking about. Everything that I've just talked about will be represented in that track pretty much. And so, yeah, I just wanted to address a few things in this podcast. I know we did it by ourselves. I know for some people that may be boring and monotone to listen to. For others, you may enjoy it. And if you do enjoy these solo podcasts, maybe we'll do them here and there once every few months, or when a big piece of news drops that I'm not able to talk about with an artist. I do kind of want to start. I kind of want to be a news channel and start informing people about things, but at the same time, I don't feel like that's my avenue yet. I feel like I'll get into that at some point, but let me know what you think. Is that something that you want to see? Is that something that you're just like, Chaz, you're overthinking shit? Just make content. Let me know what you think. My album Visionary drops on the 23rd of August, so feel free to check that out. And if you're checking this out beyond the 23rd of August, then it's already out. But yeah, I appreciate all the support recently. I appreciate what everyone's been doing for me. And as I said, I appreciate all the support on this podcast especially. So yeah, more guests and interview podcasts. I don't see them as interviews, but yeah, more guests coming soon. We're trying to branch this podcast out itself, but yeah, go check out other podcasts. Go check out other content creators. What content do you watch? Go and link it in the description below, please. I want people to talk about this now. I want people to kind of branch out and get multiple perspectives, so that it's not just my opinion swaying everyone. Go make your own perspective. Go and form your own opinion. Go and check out what other people have to say, because my word is not always gospel. You've got to remember that. I might say something that isn't always correct, so just remember that. But yeah, either way, guys, appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys for watching, and yeah, I'll talk to you, man,